waiting on, Tom? Folks, if I could have your attention before we start, I've been told there's a number of people that filled these out. If you filled one of these out, you want to bring them on up, put them on one end or the other, and they'll pass them up to the city secretary. If you're here to speak on a public hearing, you don't need to fill one of these out. These are it's not necessary. You can if you want to. But if you want to speak at a visitor citizen forum or something, and you want to fill out a form, you need to bring it up here. We ready? Well, good evening. Welcome to the first City Council meeting for the City of Haltom City in the year 2007. Thank all of you for attending, and thank all the folks at home that are going to watch this on TV. Appreciate it. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Mr. Haltom.
Thank you, Mayor. Dear Heavenly Father, we bow our heads before you this evening humbly to thank you for the opportunity, the rights that we have as citizens of our country and of our state to come together and work out the issues that make up our daily life. I ask, Father, that you give each of us here this evening the wisdom and the desire to listen. I know there's going to be a lot of concerns this evening as well as others. I pray, Father, you will be with everyone who's on the council, who's on the staff, that we might sit with ears to actually hear the concerns of the citizens that are here for us tonight. Pray, Father, that you will watch over us all, follow us back to our respectful homes, forgive us where we fail you, for it is in your name we'll give you the grace. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor,
yes.
While I have everyone's attention, can I make a brief announcement?
Sure.
If I may. Okay. Just to, we've got a nice full house this evening here, but just to those who might be joining us at home, I wanted to make sure that please do not adjust the color of your TV sets. If the camera was to pan down to Councilmember Councilmember Reese at place 6, her hair is pink. It is actually pink, so adjusting the color is not necessary. Thank you.
Well, yeah, we thank you for bringing that.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
Well, this evening I have the honor and privilege of presenting a certificate of appreciation to the Friends of the Library. If whoever's going to be the receiver, who's going to be the friend tonight, please come forward.
All of you can come down to the podium if you want. Patsy, Bonnie, all of you can go down there.
I didn't know this was such a shy lot. I would have never guessed.
I assure you, Mayor, they are not a shy lot.
Spoken by the library's liaison, who ought to know.
Well, good evening, Friends of the Library. Whereas Friends of the Haltom City Public Library was founded in the 1980s by civic-minded and devoted citizens of our community with the purpose of being an advocate for the library and a support. And whereas Friends of the Haltom City Public Library volunteer their services to host fundraising activities such as the annual book sale that provides supplies and equipment for various library programs and activities. And whereas through these efforts, Friends of the Haltom City Public Library are able to sponsor numerous events, such as the annual Texas Writers Month Writing Contest, Northeast Tarrant Reads, the annual Santa Paws fundraiser for the Nancy P. Watkins Animal Care and Adoption Center, the annual Summer Reading Program, the annual Senior Citizen Summer Reading Program, and adult literacy classes. And whereas in books are stored the accumulated wisdom of the ages, it is fitting that we should extend official recognition and commendation to this organization of dedicated citizens who have worked so diligently to help maintain the Haltom City Public Library as a fine facility and an asset to our community. Now therefore, I, William Lanford, Mayor of the City of Haltom City, and on behalf of the City Council and all of our citizens, do hereby extend this certificate of appreciation to the Friends of Haltom City Public Library as an expression of our deep appreciation for their unselfish dedication to the progress of our community. Thank you very much. Would one of you like to say a few words for us?
Well, first of all, Mayor, thank you very much. Council, thank you very much. The Friends is very, very honored this evening to be receiving this very, very wonderful appreciation. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to very much say thank you to Colleen Elliott. She is the one who has established the Friends so many, many years ago, and she has given so very much to the library with the Friends. And we're proud to be able to continue on and increase. We are going to become a nonprofit organization. We now have a board, which we're very happy about, and a lot in store. And we invite each and every one of you to volunteer with the Friends, and we always need extra hands. We have a book sale coming up in April that we always need help. So tell your friends, come out and help us be a friend with the Friends of the Haltom City Library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie, before they sit down, would you introduce them?
Yes, that's what I'm about.
Thank
How did
you.
you know I was going to do that? What a great segue. Because I don't want to be outdone by Cheryl Dixon, our president, I would like to introduce the board of directors, and I had to write all their names down because I knew I would forget them, and I want to do it in alphabetical order. Being a librarian, Nancy Earp, by the way, would you raise your hand? Nancy Wyatt Earp is one of the board of directors. Brenda Groshup is our vice president. Bonnie Richards is our secretary. Bonnie, you're too small. Raise your hand higher. Patsy Sullivan is also on the board of directors, and Travis Royal is our unofficial photographer. Travis, you're the only man you might be easily seen. Thank you very much. Thanks, Anne.
Thank you, friends of the library. Next, have a presentation for neighborhood decorating contest winners. Would you come forward, please?
Mr. Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to be able to report the results of the Neighborhood Decorating Contest for 2006. Excuse me. We have 3 categories: Most Creative Decorations, Best Use of Lights, and Best Use of a Theme. There are six sections of the city, so that means 3 awards per section. I wish we could have a dozen awards for every section because there were so many beautiful lights this year. But some of these people just went the extra mile and just outdid themselves, and we want to recognize them tonight for their efforts. Section 1, south of Midway Road and Northeast 28th Street. Excuse me. Most Creative Decoration, Nancy Cooper, 1524 Oak Knoll. I'm going to ask that as I call your name, you come forth, receive your certificate, and just walk down at the other end and stay up here so everybody can see you when this is over. Is Nancy here tonight? Best Use of Lights, Lewis Argyle, 2000 Oakwood. Best Use of a Theme, Yvonne Edmonds, 1421 Oak Knoll. Okay, we'll go to section 2. North of Midway Road and south of Broadway. Most creative decorations, Claude, Barbara, and Michael Mercer, 5820 Briarcliff. I personally judged this one. I thought this young man was going to pick me up and throw me over his shoulder. I've never seen anybody so excited to receive this award. I think I had 5 hugs the first 5 minutes and 10 before I left. But anyway, it was something to see. Best use of lights, Jesse Garza, 3033 Field. Best use of a theme, Luis and Rosa DePorto, 4908 Fossil Drive. Special recognition to John W. Brown and his wife Winnie, 5420 Mack Road. I understand Mr. Brown does the outside and Mrs. Brown does the inside. Section 3, north of Broadway and south of Stanley Covey Road. Most creative decorations, Tim Cornelius, 3800 Haltom Road. Now, was this your helper? Did he do part of this? Or? Okay. Best use of lights, Melissa Smith, 4025 Doline. Best use of a theme, you have no name here, friend. Pardon? Okay, just keep going. Section 4. There's always an exception, isn't there? North of Stanley Keller and Loop 820, west of Denton Highway. Most creative decoration, Rodney Wilson, 5320 Chelsea Circle. Best use of lights, Mark and Lori Stops, 5700 Christie. Best use of a theme, Richard Flores, 5631 Rockport. Section 5, Diamond Oaks. Most creative decoration, Buddy Kersey, 5953 Diamond Oaks South. Best use of lights, Mike and Becky Peterson, 5704 Georgian Court. Best use of a theme, Charles Spalding, 5801 Jane Ann. Section 6, north of Loop 820 and east of Denton Highway. Most creative decorations, Gervonal De La Rosa, 5648 Whitley Road. Best use of lights, Sharon LaFoon, 5400 Parkview. And best use of a theme, Judy and Gary Marsden, 5337 Parkview. That concludes it. I wish more people would get involved and decorate, because we had some beautiful lights this year. And like I say, I wish we had a lot more awards to give, because if you were a judge, you know how hard it was to make that choice. Thank you very much. If y'all will just go out into the hall, we'd like to take your pictures, please. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Bertie. Bertie Blocker was making those presentations, and Fran Burns was helping, and we thank again all the citizens who participated in that. It's a point of pride in Haltom City. We've been recognized by all of our neighbors for our outstanding Christmas decorations for a number of years, and certainly appreciate those folks. And next, Fran, I believe you got some announcements to make.
Yes, I do. I have lots of things to talk about this evening. But to add to your comments, Mayor, if I may, it is really difficult to come up with results of the neighborhood decorating contest, because so many people do decorate. And I think it's been about 10 years now that the T has sent their Tour of Lights buses out to Haltom City to actually go through our neighborhoods and see the work that our residents do. So we're really proud of that. And Bertie Blocker, in fact, is the one that works for the T to organize their tours out here. Okay. So it's great public relations for our community. It gets people to come and visit us here. So very positive. Oh, now to the announcements. The holiday season in Haltom City, the Haltom City Police Association partnered with a variety of community groups to assist 69 families with a total of 223 children in celebrating Christmas. Several citizens adopted residents who needed jackets or clothing during the holidays. Donations of toys were received from all over the community, including Birdville Baptist Church and the Lions Club. Kohl's offered a 30% discount, enabling the association to purchase 20 pairs of shoes, 11 jackets, and numerous shirts and pants. Target donated candy for children's stockings, and the Haltom City Library staff supplied other stocking stuffers. Riverwalk Church provided bags of groceries, and members of the Senior Citizens Center wrapped more than 600 gifts. Dinners, gifts, and stockings were delivered on Friday, December 22nd. On Christmas Day, officers delivered gifts donated by Mid-Cities Care Corps to 20 senior citizens who live alone and have no family in the area. These seniors were very happy to have someone who had thought of them on Christmas. The Haltom City Police Association thanks everyone who took part in making Christmas possible for these families and seniors, and members look forward to working with generous city businesses and citizens next year. So the toy drive was a very big success. The Haltom City Crime Watch Captains Association invites citizens to attend the next meeting, scheduled for 6:30 p.m. this Wednesday, January 10th, at the Haltom Recreation Center, 4839 Broadway Ave. Those who attend can learn about keeping their neighborhoods safe by using the Crime Watch program. Haltom City will host a blood drive from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thursday, January 18th. The Carter Blood Center mobile unit will be parked outside the Haltom City Public Library at 3201 Friendly Lane. Everyone who is able to donate blood is encouraged to give this gift of life. That's the 18th of January. The next public meeting on the Belknap Street study is scheduled for 6 p.m. Thursday, January 18th at the Haltom City Public Library. This meeting will be co-hosted by Kimley Horn, the consultants hired by the Haltom City Economic Development Corporation to study the Belknap corridor and present a long-range redevelopment plan. Anyone may attend this public meeting. Citizens are also invited to attend a second town hall meeting scheduled for 6:30 p.m. Thursday, January 25th at the library. The topic for discussion is, what is your vision for the city? Mayor Bill Lanford will serve as moderator. The Citizens Police Academy will begin sessions Tuesday, February 6th. This academy will last 10 weeks. Sessions will be held from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Haltom City Law Enforcement Center, 5110 Broadway Avenue. For information and to enroll, contact Sergeant Gene Rowell at the Police Department, 222-7036. Also, a new Citizens Emergency Response Team, or CERT class, will commence February 19th. Classes will meet from 6 to 10 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays at the Central Fire Station. A Citizens Fire Academy will follow beginning Monday, March 19th, and will be held during the same hours and at the same location as the CERT's training. To enroll, call the Emergency Management Office at 759-8650. That's located at the Central Fire Station. Mark your calendars and plan on participating in the 21st Annual Haltom Stampede set for Saturday, February 10th. 5K and 10K events are featured. Awards will be presented to male and female runners in a wide variety of age categories. The start-finish location has been changed, whereas it used to be at the Birdville Stadium. Now runners will begin and end all events at the Recreation Center. Watch the city's website for an online registration form or call the Recreation Department at 831-6464 for details. And lastly, Haltom City community calendars are available at all municipal buildings, and they're free. The calendars list major public events, boards and commissions meetings, and feature budget and contact information. They also highlight winning photos from the city's 2006 Annual Images of Haltom City Photo Contest. Guidelines and entry forms have just been made available for the 2007 contest. You may pick up this information at City Hall or at the library, or access it via the city's website at www.haltomcitytx.com. And with that, I thank you very much. I'm going to leave some of these forms outside the door for people to pick up, too, for the photo contest. So.
Thank you, Fran. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Just as a reminder for folks that come up and speak into this mic, I have it on good. I had a citizen talk to me the other day and said that a lot of times when you're watching it on TV at home, you can't hear people in this microphone. So be sure and cozy up to it and speak directly into it and just advertise necessary so the folks at home can hear you. I know they can hear me, but we want them to hear you too. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Reference your town hall meeting. The beginning time is at 6:30. Is there approximate time you're going to try to close?
Yeah, the first one was an hour and a half, and it seemed like that wasn't quite long enough, so we're going to try to stretch it out to a couple of hours, and so we'll have it from 6:30 to 8:30.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We'd like for a lot of people to be there. Want to hear? This is important stuff. All right. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory and will be enacted by the council with one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless they're removed from the consent agenda, which they're not. Approval of the consent agenda authorizes the city manager to implement each item in accordance with staff or board recommendations. We now stand ready for a motion. Ms. Reese.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for a motion to approve items 1 and 2 on the consent agenda.
Ms. Branson.
For a second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? If not, please cast your vote. And that is unanimous. The first item on the regular agenda, item 3, ordinance number O2007-001-15 Z-010-16, conduct a public hearing and consideration and or action on the application of Mike Tanchian for a zoning change. This is the first reading, and this is a public hearing. Mr. Castro, you want to tell us about that?
Thank you, Mayor. And of course, as previously mentioned, it is to conduct a public hearing and consideration and or action on the application of Mike Tanchian for a zoning change on Lot 17, Block 33 of the Meadow Oaks addition from the C1 Commercial District to the C2 Commercial District for a wholesale auto parts business located at the east side of Friendly Lane, containing approximately 0.22 acres of land locally known as 3214 Friendly Lane. And that is the correct acreage on this. I had it verified. The applicant has requested to rezone the property from existing zoning C1 to the C2 commercial zoning district. The C2 zoning will allow the applicant to operate an internet auto parts business. Fiscal impact none. Recommendation. At their meeting on December 12, 2006, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezone request to the City Council. Changes were made to the site plan, which included additional landscaping. The applicant will be required to remove existing pavement and plant 3 trees. 2 trees will be planted in the rear and 1 in the front of the facility. In addition, 2 concrete planters must be provided in the front area. Pending a study by the city's engineering department, an additional fire hydrant may need to be installed. Please see the attached memo dated November 28, 2006. And the attachments are, of course, the ordinance 0-2007-001-15, the memo from the Fire Marshal's office, and an 11 by 17-inch site plan. I, along with Bennett Howell, the city engineer, stand to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the council? Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Did we get any neighborhood response, positive or negative, on the mail out?
I believe that it was all positive with the, I don't think there was that many that were returned, and I'm sorry that I don't have that information here, but to the best of my recollection, I believe it was positive.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Sutton.
Yeah, as we discussed it back in the pre-council session, the C2 matrix does show that it's auto parts, not C1 as it currently shows on the city's website, and that's needs to be updated. So that's why the C2, if anybody was out there looking at the C1, that shows that this would this usage would fit into the C1, but it doesn't actually. C2 is where this belongs.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
That is correct.
Ms. Branson.
Thank you. I have several questions. You mentioned landscaping. Is there going to be an irrigation system for that landscaping?
There is. That's one of the requirements, and of course to make sure that the trees are maintained in a healthy condition. And the applicant has agreed to professionally install an irrigation system for that purpose.
And what about the pots?
The pots themselves, It says it refers to 2 concrete planters. And Mr. Hall, do you remember if that was something that they,
In August, it gets really warm, and we see some pretty bare concrete planters up and down Belknap and 28th. So I was just wondering if that was dealt with.
if I don't remember, if I recollect at the PNC meeting, I think these were going to be not your typical planters. These were going to be fairly large, aesthetically pleasing, so to speak. Yes.
And they're going to have plants in them all 12 months of the year?
I wouldn't know that to be exact if it's going to be all 12 months. It depends, of course, what he's agreed to put in there. I don't have that information in front of me. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'm hoping if they put planters in, it's part of the landscape requirements that they're going to keep live plants 12 months of the year.
I would assume that would be the case. That is correct.
And is it a code enforcement issue if that is not met?
In most cases, yes, it is, because in other areas of the city, if that has been a requirement of their CO, we try to follow up on that and make sure that the landscape is kept up so that, year-round it serves its purpose, which is landscape.
Okay. I have another question that I ask in the back. What about traffic? How are these auto parts going to be brought in? I understand that it's going to be for internet sales. Is that correct?
That is correct. I got another clarification on that also. And to my understanding, okay, there's no customers at all that are going to be coming to this location to pick up any parts. He's going to have them delivered in and delivered out or shipped out.
By
UPS delivery service.
Okay, and since it's internet sales, do you know, and maybe this is a question for the applicant if they're here, if it's internet sales, we don't get sales tax off those auto parts, is that correct?
That's a very good question. Do you know, Mr. Mayor? Yeah.
Well, is it in-state or within the city?
Well, if they're sold within the state of Texas, they're required to charge sales tax because that's a sales tax. If they ship it out of state, the recipient is supposed to be use a use tax. So we don't get the benefit from that, though.
So we'll only receive sales tax if they're sold within the state, and I guess that's audited by the comptroller, perhaps? Do you know, Blakely?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen it before where they do audit them. They go in and they audit their books to see whether they're shipping it and whether they collect sales tax and whether they remitted that to the state.
Okay. So if it's C2, pardon? No, the city will not receive
The city
sales
doesn't.
tax.
The city gets the sales tax from the state, just like we do any other sales tax.
If it's sold within Texas. If they're sold to Illinois, we don't get anything.
Right.
So the other question, by moving it to C2, this will allow this to also have walk-in customers at some point in time as well. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. That is an understanding of or a comprehension of that ordinance. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And maybe if the applicant's here, when they come up, they can address the sales tax. And
Correct.
I would be interested to know if they have any idea
Sure.
how much sales tax will be generated within Texas.
Right, and Mr. Tanshian is present, and along with some of his partners, and would also like to be invited up to answer any of your questions.
Mr. Holcomb.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Bransom had mentioned the the irrigation system, which is a requirement. Does that also apply to the planter boxes themselves?
Typically, it's for the trees and any landscape that's out there, such as should there be grass and things of that nature. I don't believe it applies to that, but I'd have to. I'm not for sure. I'd have to look into that.
Could we request that apply in this case? Because I think the nature of that situation there was in lieu of having grass because he already had pavement up front, and I know that those misters can be incorporated to those irrigation systems. So.
Well, and I would hope that the spirit of the request was that there would be greenery there at all points in time.
Correct. I agree.
I think that's a good point, and I'm sure we could include that.
Mr. Hutchison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is the applicant here? I'd like to ask a question. of the
He's
applicant.
here, but he hasn't come up yet. If
Oh,
you
he's not.
wanna
Yeah,
hold-
I'll hold my question
Okay.
until he comes up.
Any other questions for Mr. Castro or Mr. Howe? Thank you, gentlemen. Then, is Mr. Tranchant here? Do you want to? Would you mind coming up and just introduce yourself and like I say, hold that microphone up close to you so we can hear you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the City Council. I am Mike Tanchan, and we're just moving to the state, and I'm requesting the zoning change for the usage of the property, so I can answer any question that you have for me.
Mr. Hutchinson had a question.
Mr. Tanchin, I'm reading off the memorandum here that says that you're requesting this zoning change to allow to operate an internet auto parts business. Okay, could you explain the nature of the internet auto parts business? And where I'm going with this is you're changing it from a C1 to a C2 classification. And if you're going to allow walk-up business, what is the nature of the internet portion of the auto parts business? It would seem to me like you wouldn't need any walk-up business.
No, because I'm specialized in high-end vehicles, German, Mercedes, and BMW. So I see pretty much no business for me from the local community because the type of the specialized, high-end vehicles that I'm involved in. So I don't see any local demand, really. It might be very, very rare for a local to come in and pick up merchandise if I ever sell here locally. It could be around the state, but not within the Haltom city.
So is it my understanding that you'll have the parts transferred to your place of business as it exists right here, and then you'll have them shipped out someplace else, or will you have them shipped from a manufacturing plant someplace else?
Both. We can do drop shipment from the manufacturer, from the main distributor. We can do an item, if we don't stock it in a warehouse, we can ask drop shipment, and we will sell it. We collect the payment, and the item gets shipped from the direct distributor to the recipient. And if we don't have the item in the warehouse, we use UPS, DHL, etc.
Okay, and could you answer Ms. Bransom's questions about the nature of the sales tax, please, sir?
In what way? Right now, we run the business in California, and whenever we sell to the Californians, we do collect sales tax. But when we sell to out of state, we don't.
Do you anticipate a good portion of your business being out-of-state business?
I'm sorry?
Do you anticipate a good portion of your business to be outside the state of Texas?
Yes, yeah. Right now, we do sell to Texans, and ever since we've been selling on the internet, we do have clients that we sell to Texas residents, and but good portion of the business, it is out of state.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Reese.
Yes.
Okay, I've got two. First one is, do you reside here in Haltom City?
Colleyville.
In Colleyville?
Yes.
Okay, what was your reasoning for coming here to Haltom City with the comments you made as to doubtful of walk-up business customers because you wouldn't see it here? I mean, why did you come here?
Oh, we just happened to be found the perfect fit building. We liked the neighborhood and nice and quiet, and the building, it fits exactly what I wanted to do. And it just happened to be that we found a nice property that fits our needs.
Do you see your traffic flow of shipping or receiving your merchandise affecting the kids at the school right here?
Not at all.
Because there's a lot of kids that
Yes.
just dart out across
Yeah.
the street.
Not at all. In fact, we do 2 or 3 day shipping during the week. It's like every other day or twice a week, period. We don't even do every day. I mean, we don't have that heavy volume shippings that UPS comes in and out, massive shipment. We don't have that kind of volume sales.
Okay, and you said it's high-end, such as, you said BMW and what?
Mercedes.
and Mercedes, and
Yeah.
that's all you're not gonna do for just general vehicles?
Domestic, no, not at all, no intention for that.
Can I ask you why?
I'm sorry?
Why? Would
Just-
you not open up that avenue?
I'm specialized from day one in that, and I just like to stay what I know with, and rather than, changing high-end, to regular different cars, it just have no need for.
Called niche marketing. Quite common. Any other questions, Ms. Reese? Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sir, how many people do you plan to employ in this building, and what might be their job title, their job description?
Probably one person for beginning.
Maybe
It could
stocking
be-
inventory or?
Yeah, shipping, packaging, stocking.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Ms. Branson?
One more. It's one more question. I don't know if you were, well, on the planters that you're planning to put out front, are you planning on having live plants in them 12 months a year?
Yeah, I like to have, my preference is evergreen that doesn't generate mass of, dirt, so stays green year-round. That's my preference.
Okay, well, my concern is we have had situations where planters are part of the CO, and either the plants never get planted or they don't get watered, so they die. So we have either dead plants in planters or no plants in planters. And the spirit of the request for that is to have greenery to help offset all the concrete that's around the building.
Yes, of course, yeah. It makes it more attractive, more nicer looking, and I'm in favor of that anyway.
Are you going to have some sort of way to water the planters, or are you planning on having someone put a hose in it ever so often?
No, I think we're going to run an irrigation system,
Okay.
so it does it automatically, yeah.
That's a good answer, thanks.
Yes.
Mr. Sutton?
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Mr. Tanchin, thank you for choosing Haltom City. It's nice for you to come in and bring your business here. We appreciate it.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the council time too dedicated their time and consider the zoning change, and I appreciate the outcome.
Just have a question about the back end of the business back there. From what I understand, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and you agreed that you'd plant 2 trees back there. And from what I understand, that's all concrete back there right now, right?
Yes.
And,
yes.
And the idea of doing that is to kind of provide a little bit more of a buffer between the residences and the building, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And nothing is going to change, as far as I can see from the ordinance here, to the physical building itself?
Not at all, no.
Okay. I mean, inside there'll be changes and that?
Not even inside, probably. I haven't, it's
Okay.
perfectly okay for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions for Mr. Trenchon? I think that's it, sir. Thank you. You have anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
This is it. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this zoning request? If not, I'll close the public hearing and we'll consider a motion to dispose. Mr. Hutchison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion that we pass the ordinance number 2007-001-15, and I want to bring to the public's attention, of course, the precaution from the memo that there is an average spacing right now for fire hydrants. We have that memo there, and there is a possibility for another fire hydrant, and Mr. Tranchian has agreed that if after the engineering study that there is going to be, that there's a requirement for another fire hydrant, that will be put there for safety's sake. So with that motion, I would like to offer that, please. Thank you.
And that's first reading?
Yes, first reading.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Sutton.
That's for a second for exactly what Rich said.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to to approve on first reading ordinance O2007-001-15. Is there any further discussion? If not, please register your vote. And that is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tranchant. Next items on the agenda, we can consider both these at one time. Is that true? And then just take separate votes?
It might make it a little easier to understand.
Right. We will discuss items 4 and 5 together, and then we'll take two separate votes. This is for preliminary and final plat. This is item 4 is preliminary plat number P-021-06. Conduct a public hearing and consideration and or action regarding the application of Dr. Steve Hardy for the preliminary plat of Lot 1, Block 1, Western Center Plaza Edition. And item 5 is final plat number P-022-06. Conduct a public hearing and or consideration and or action regarding the application of Dr. Steve Hardy for the final plat of Lot 1, Block 1, Western Center Plaza Edition. Mr. Castro, you want to tell us about this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Again, you've given a pretty precise description of the property. And just to reiterate, this is for the preliminary plat and final of Lot 1, Block 1, Western Center Plaza Edition. This is situated in the Green B. Stanley Survey, Abstract 1380, in the C3 Commercial District, containing approximately 5.107 acres of land located on the south side of Western Center, locally known as 5000 Western Center Boulevard. The applicant is proposing to develop a 50,000 square foot retail facility. The applicant has not indicated the type of retail uses occupying the proposed facility. And on this one here, I believe there were a couple of possible businesses that he has mentioned, and I'm sure that he will be open to those questions. Fiscal impact, none. At the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, this preliminary plat was recommended and final. Preliminary and final plat was recommended for approval by the City Council, or to the City Council by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the decision was at the December 12, 2006 P&Z meeting. The Planning and Zoning Commission did ask the developer to work with the president of the Huntington Park Owners Association on possible masonry fence to be erected. And of course, on attachments, we have the 11-inch by 17 preliminary plat. And along with Bennett Howell, I stand to answer any of your questions regarding this property.
Before we start asking you questions, I want to take a break here to recognize we had some Boy Scouts came in our meeting, and want to recognize those guys. Is this the troop from Keller? Okay, all right. A compadre of mine where I work told me you guys might be here. Well, welcome to Haltom City. Hope you enjoy your stay and learn something about how city government works. All right. What troop number is this? 589? Okay. Well, welcome back, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Castro or Mr. Howell from the dais? If not, this is a public hearing, and so we'll open up the public hearing. The applicant is here, I believe. Sir, would you like to come up and make a presentation, and then we'll just go from there?
Thank you, Mayor Langford and City Council members and citizens of Haltom City. I appreciate your consideration of our final plat today. I do have our architect here, Jerry Schwartz, and we're happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Steve, you can move that mic up there. Yeah, it's got a kind of a neck down on the bottom of it. That's
okay.
Yeah, show him how to do that.
Is that better?
Yeah, where it's more comfortable for him. Yeah, so you don't have to stoop over. You can stand up tall here.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mr. Hutchinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dr. Hardy, I presume that's, Dr. Hardy, I want to address you appropriately here. The acreage of the land that you've got, and I've noticed from the plat here especially this drawing, that there is a very short distance between the homeowners' property lines all the way down the line, all the way down your line, and your places of business. I think it would be appropriate if you gave some sort of indication. There was some indication, sir, that about some of the things that some of the businesses you were going to put into this retail area. It would be appropriate, I think, for the public to know something of an idea of what you were planning for this retail area, so that they'll get an idea of what's coming about.
Sure. This is going to be a neighborhood retail center. That's my experience in the past, is what I've built is a neighborhood retail center. So we're not going to be a destination for people outside the neighborhood. It will be uses within the C3 zoning. Typically we have cleaners, nail salon, restaurants. Sometimes we often have professionals services in these centers too, and I at this point I don't have any leases signed, so I can't speak specifically, but my experience has been is once the building starts going up, our leasing activity will pick up, and I don't want to put anything here that's going to upset the neighborhood, because they're my customers. They're who I'm looking for to come to the shopping center. And if I don't build something that they're happy with and that they'll support, then I might as well have not built it.
Thank you, Dr. Hardy. I appreciate that answer. I was kind of I kind of got, this looked a little ambiguous at first, because I seen some stuff going on up there at Western Center Boulevard already, sir. And I didn't, obviously I was curious, and then when we got this tonight, I was curious as to what was, and so I assume that you are going to work closely with the neighborhood association. They're concerned, obviously, for their homes, and since it is pretty close to where you're going to be put your business, then and which I have no problems with. I just want to make sure that we understand, all of us understand, and the public understands that you're not putting the kind of business there that would harm the neighborhood, or that would interfere with their normal style of living, with their daily living process. Thank you.
Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Hardy, thank you for choosing Haltom City as a place to start a business or do some business. I assume that you've done this, though, before.
Yes, I've been in the commercial real estate business since 1992, and I've developed several different shopping centers. I have one up on North Beach that I developed, recently sold, and then just got my final certificate of occupancy up on Heritage Trace Boulevard in the Alliance Corridor. Yeah. And I built a shopping center on Boat Club Road, and then did a redevelopment of a medical office building downtown.
Okay. The one in Heritage Trace I don't think it's very close to residences there, is it?
Right next to them.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's the northeast corner of Heritage Trace and North Riverside.
Okay, and how did that go as far as the working with the residents there?
Everybody, when they've had a green belt for a number of years, and you come in and you change it, it's difficult. And I've been through this at every one that I've done. But as people see it and realize that it's there to provide services to them, and once it's up and running, I don't have problems. I have a good management company that I've used for years, Kim Martin Company, and if we have problems with a tenant, then we deal with those problems. If we have complaints from adjacent property owners, we address those complaints and take care of them, because I need their business.
Right. When I looked at the plat, it looked like there is some parking places right up to the end of the property, and then a fire lane, and then you've got the back of some asphalt or concrete before the building begins. Is that pretty typical for this type of business?
Are you talking in the front?
No, in the back, in the rear, where it faces the neighborhood, backs up to the neighborhood there.
Yes, I believe so. Jerry might be better to speak to that, but this is pretty standard design that we've done in the past, and it has been fairly well accepted by other municipalities that I've worked with.
Does it seem to be the right distance, though, from the neighborhood, in your mind, this particular one?
Yes, it's pretty far. What are the setbacks, Jerry? How far are we set back?
At each corner, we're probably about 90 feet back, so
Okay.
we're quite a bit of distance there.
So that includes the parking places, the fire lane, and then the concrete before the building begins.
Right.
Now, is that at the apex of the building where it leans out, or is that the minimum distance, or is that at some other point?
At that point, we're probably about 40 feet.
40 feet, okay. Okay, so from the ends, it looks like you're maybe more 90 feet. Now, you do have trash receptacles that are there. They're going to be fully enclosed, from what I understand. How do you regulate those to make sure that those stay fully enclosed?
Well, it's incumbent on the tenants to close it up when they put their trash in.
So it's a tenant. Okay,
Right,
that's
yeah.
what I wanted to hear. Okay.
But these tenants, that my experience with tenants is this is their place of business, and they take a lot of pride in that. I've done some residential stuff before, and rented. If you rent homes to people, sometimes they don't care about it as much. But I've never had anybody that didn't care about their business, because it's the way they make a living, and they take good care of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hardy.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark.
Dr. Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir, for coming. Most residential houses I've been in, the bedrooms in the back, and your building will be adjacent to the bedrooms, which involves lighting. I know police want more lighting, the neighborhoods want less lighting. Can you tell me how that's being addressed on the rear of the building?
Yes. With Hillwood, I've learned a lot dealing with Hillwood, and they're very meticulous about how they handle the lighting, and I think it's good, and that's what I want to do here is we're going to use the cutoff lights that light the parking lot. We're not going to shine any lights into the neighborhood, and they won't see our lights. They're going to be the cutoffs. I mean, if they get up and look over the fence, they can see it, but it's not going to impact their homes, the inside of their homes or their bedrooms at all.
Is this what they basically call a directional lighting? Or something along that line?
I forget the name, but it's a cutoff light.
Yeah. Directional light straight down, basically.
Thanks, sir.
Any other questions from the council? Mr. Holcomb?
Yes, sir. While we're on the subject of lights, I could just, well, first off, let me say I grew up living behind a shopping center like this, and even though the exterior lighting for the facility is direct towards the ground, it doesn't really say much for the traffic that might be traveling behind the buildings. What can be done, or what is being done, or has it been thought of thus far about headlights coming through the fence on that back property line? Is there any way to address that with?
Yes. The fencing that we're going to provide will not allow light to penetrate. We've had some discussion about a masonry fence. I'm still looking into that issue. I understand that it's very important to the homeowners. It's a very expensive item, but the fences that I've been putting in my shopping centers are cedar fences, and the boards abut completely, and there's no light to go through. And the second comment I have on that is these retail centers, there's not a lot of nighttime traffic behind these buildings because most of the business is conducted during the day. And the restaurant business that goes on after in the evening hours, the traffic tends to stay in the front of the center. So everybody's acutely concerned about what goes on behind the building, but there's just not a lot of activity. The dumpster guys don't come after dark. They come during the day, and so we're not going to let the light go in from the cars going back there, and there are not going to be very many cars that go back there at night.
Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Will you be installing speed bumps, or will that be an as-needed per complaint type situation? You'll be aware of it as it goes on?
Right now, we don't have any speed bumps planned, but we're certainly open to it if we need it.
On an as-needed basis? Thanks, sir.
Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. I just thought of another question. This may not even be your responsibility as a developer, but will security cameras be provided in the rear of the building there, or are they planned for?
At this point, we haven't planned for that. I've had security issues come up at other shopping centers, and I've addressed that by security cameras and also by security patrols. You know, the first sort of problem, my experience that you have is graffiti on the back of the building, and once that occurs, you have to take action or it just gets worse. And so we will take some form of action to stop that if it does occur.
What I'm saying then is that this is going to be a long-term relationship on your part with your tenants. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You're not going to develop this and sell it to another owner?
Well, I can't say that I won't sell the property, but, you know, there have been some, I held a shopping center for 14 years. I've had some that I've kept for 2 or 3 years.
I see. It's a business case decision.
That's right, but as a landlord, as long as I'm a landlord, I'm going to take care of my tenants and I'm going to take care of my neighbors because, you know, it's incumbent on me to do that. Plus, it's the right thing to do, and I want to be a good business person as well as a good neighbor.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Ms. Branson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 questions, and neither one are for you. They're for further down I believe they're both for Tom. 2 things in his conversation he brought up. One was graffiti. We have an ordinance that deals with graffiti, do we not?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's something that, you know.
So we can help you with that.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
The second is when he was talking about the trash company comes during the day. What is for commercial pickup, when does ISI start and when do they end? Because I've seen them out pretty early and pretty late.
For the front load, there's front loaders that do come out in the middle of the night.
Yes.
There are some. Now, as Dr. Hardy explained, he intends on his being done during the day.
So
that's a possibility.
He gets to pick the time, or does ISI say we're picking up?
I think that's an arrangement that he makes with ISI as far as when the pickup.
So
I can speak from personal experience. ISI is amenable to come in when you want them to.
Well, so I was just going to
that.
request that should this go forward, that when he's dealing with ISI, that he takes the people that live behind him in consideration. 5 a.m. with one of the front end things screeching and dumping the stuff isn't very attractive. And I mean, you know, since he's up here, his phone number could probably be gotten. So, you know, he might want to consider talking to them about coming during the day and not in the early morning hours or late evening hours.
We'll work with him on
Well,
that.
I mean, because if I were a neighbor and that thing started showing up at 5 in the morning, I guarantee I'd be finding somebody to talk to about it. And you have no doubt I would.
I think everybody here would agree with that.
And there are neighbors down there that have a personality much like mine, so that might be taken into consideration.
No, I have my doubts about that.
Mr. Holcomb.
But if you would take that into consideration, that would be most appreciated.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick subject change. I've just got one more, and then I'd like to hold and hear from some of the citizens. But I noticed on the landscape plan, you've got 2, 3, 4, say 5 or 6 assorted types of trees along that back fence. Is there any rhyme or reason to why those change the way they do? Or it kind of looks like maybe you've been trying to deal with the neighbors as to maybe trees they want backing up to their house, or am I reading something wrong into that?
That's a great selection of trees, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
It really is.
We had an education at P&Z about trees.
I bet you did.
How did we come up with these trees, Jerry?
Well, the landscape designer came up with these, so I really can't answer for him, but I think he wanted a different variety back there, some different color and a different texture, I guess.
Well, these are all high-quality native type things that do well in this area. So yeah, those are good choices. Any other questions? Before we open it up for other people to come up, did you have a presentation you want to make? I see you've got.
Well, we just have this rendering if somebody wants to take a look
Okay,
at it.
that's just
and
for
it generates,
reference. Okay.
generates some questions.
Okay, all right.
Could you turn it and let the council see a little bit here too now? Oh, there it is. Now we can see it. Okay. Same one. Okay.
What's that, the landscape plan? We do have a landscape plan too back here
Okay.
if you want to see
All right.
that as well.
Well, are there any other questions from the council?
Got that.
And if you don't have anything else to present, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else? By the way, again, if you've got one of these yellow sheets filled out and this is the subject you want to talk about, that's fine. These are usually for the visitors forum, but we don't have to do it in any particular order. It's volunteer. Anybody who would like to be the first person to speak? Anyone? Okay, come on up, sir, and give us your name and address, and again, speak directly into the microphone if you will. Just adjust it as you need to. Thanks. Right over here. Oh, okay. Just hand that to Jim down there on the end, if you will, please, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
My name is Mike Logan. I live at 5033 Roundtree Court. I'm also the president of the Huntington Park Homeowners Association. I would like to say that the doctor here had Mike Berkowitz contact me, which I had a hard time getting a hold of him. And then we finally made an arrangement for him to come out on the 28th of December to my home and meet with the homeowners. He was supposed to call me, email me, or whatever with some kind of information about all the decisions that we had talked about. Fences, trees, the security system, the lighting system, if there's enough light there, everything else. I never heard a word. He asked me this evening when I got here if I'd talked to him, if I'd heard from him. I told him no. Okay? Some of our biggest problem here is the fence. Number one is that we're talking about our homeowners association, and if you've seen our houses, we're a decent community, okay? We look good, we want to keep it that way. We think that a wooden fence, okay, number one is that I don't care if it's cedar, I don't care if it's stained or whatever, you're going to give it some water on it, a good hailstorm, a good summer or two, and it's going to start looking bad, okay? We honestly think that he could do something better as far as he doesn't have to go with cement brick or whatever. There's all kinds of places around malls and stuff where they're taking two big steel beams with a channel and we're taking concrete pieces and setting them into place. Not only that, we're talking about the graffiti stuff here, okay? It looks like to me it's going to be a lot better to have some kind of fence that is concrete and that he can paint and stuff instead of trying to mess with replacing wood or taking a pressure washer or whatever and stuff to get the graffiti off and then redo it. The other problem I have with this fence situation is that he's wanting to take and butt it right up against our existing fences, okay, with no gap at all. Now, if you have a fence right now and you want to replace it and you want to come back in and you want to put in metal posts and stuff, my understanding is that is bolted in from the back with a metal piece, okay, onto your wood pieces going across. If he's butted up right against us, how is this supposed to be done? Are we going to take and knock down his fence so we can get our new fence up? You know, the other thing is I've also heard that if he's going to do that, and how much of a gap there is in between, what about the weeds growing? okay? It looks like to me he should come up with a better idea for a better fence, give it some gap that he can maintain that piece of property, okay? I also told him that his property management person, Mike Berkowitz, that when I first moved in there, which is almost 5 years ago, okay, that Charter came in trying to lay cable line in my backyard because we have a 7.5-foot easement way in my backyard. They tore up the major telephone line, the big one. They came in all the way around the back and went on the back of the fence, which I told his property management people, out of just being nice, that when he starts to try to put in a fence or something back there, it's going to be there. I still have not heard from Mike Berkowitz. Okay? I just think that we're looking at Haltom City progressing and being a much better and much cleaner city. And I don't think that a wooden fence, after whatever amount of time and stuff, depending on whether he sells his property to somebody else and that K. Martin is not maintaining it anymore, okay, who's going to come in and maintain it? I think there should be a much better fence and stuff for our homes, okay? We are the taxpayers here, and we are registered voters too, okay? And as far as the speed bumps, I brought that up with his property management person too, okay? The way this place is designed, excuse me, okay, I only see these ways in, and that's it, okay? I don't care if you're UPS, which is the world's worst, or FedEx, or whoever, them people are always on the go, as fast as they can get in and as fast as they can get out. And depending on who else you put in this place, okay, whether it be restaurants and you're serving alcohol or whatever and stuff, all right, you're going to have people that want to go and then hook them around, okay? You're just asking for more trouble, in my opinion. The other problem is that this back part right here, I don't think we have enough leeway back here for, even if it's employee parking or whatever, okay? It's happened many times, and you've seen it or heard about it. Somebody comes out, gets in their car, messes around with their heater in the wintertime or air conditioner in summer or whatever, puts their car into gear, messing around with whatever, and they think that they got it in reverse. They got it in drive, they step on the gas, and they go right through. You know, jump over this place and going to run through a wooden fence, okay, and mess up my fence too. Then I've got to go through the hassle of my insurance company and everybody else's insurance company. I think there should be a better solution to this, okay? Let's see here. Another problem that I really see is, we already spoke on the light issue. I brought that up at the Zoning and Planning Commission and all that stuff, okay? And about the dogs barking, you know, and this and that. That's another thing about a good fence. If the dogs can't see through the fences and stuff, and I don't care what kind of fence you put up, it's going to have knot holes, especially cedar, okay? And with the way the weather is and stuff, if it's not watered, there's no saying that the person next door to me has got to water his backyard. And there's no saying that he's going to properly water, you know, his area too. So you're going to have shifting of posts and stuff, and I don't care, like he said, how good you butt them up around here, they're going to split and gap, okay? Another thing is about what kind of people that he puts in here, okay? I brought this up at the Planning Commission too. Down at Beach and Western Center, we have a big problem down there. Of course, it's Fort Worth, I know, okay? But anyway, with umpteen jillion teenagers, 20, 30 cars or more, hanging out and stuff, okay? It depends on what he puts in here, whether it turns out to be a teenager hangout or what. I mean, he could stick somebody in here that sells boom boxes And the next thing I know is we got boom, boom, boom going around our place all the time. Okay? Not that he's installing them, he's just selling them. And they're coming in with the boom, 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 buying some more or whatever. Okay? It has a lot to do with who he puts in here and stuff, you know. That's another thing. I think with the area and the amount of money that I think that he's wanting to spend here, he should do a better fence. And I think that I've heard him say that it depends on, well, his property management person said that they're going like $20 a square foot. Okay? Well, that sounds very reasonable because at $20 a square foot and you want to make them sign a 5-year contract, okay, that's a lot of money. That's $200,000 for 5 years, okay? That's good. That'll help keep out riffraff. I just want to be sure that what he's doing and what he says is going to happen, and he's not going to turn around and sell this thing in 2 or 3 years or a year or whatever, and then somebody else comes in and they don't care. I think all this needs to really be taken into consideration, considering that the area that we're trying to build up here in the northern part and exactly what we're trying to make Haltom City progress to. Okay? We want to do the best that we can. We want it to keep the best we can, and we want it to be even better than what it is. And besides the trees, don't know about the issue you have with the trees or whatever, because I was told that they were majority oak. Okay? That's what I was told. Is that the Planning and Zoning Commission, that was read to me.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, I didn't count how many oaks, there was some oaks, but there was there's,
Red cedar, cedar elm,
but they're all
bald cypress.
very nice trees. I mean,
Okay,
I'm
well,
I'm not a
okay,
landscape
the only
expert.
problem that I have with that, and other homeowners have with that is that if you're gonna plant big oak trees, they're gonna have tons of leaves, grow super tall, and tons of acorns. You know, my property is exactly, let's see, it'd be right here. Okay? With all these trees. Okay? I don't want a bunch of big oak trees that are going to dump 10 tons of leaves in my backyard when I don't own them. And I don't want acorns either. And I also talked to the property management person, okay, that the acorns are also going to be on his side, and he's going to have all kinds of trucks and vehicles running all over them. Now, does he want to keep that up? You know, he tells me, oh yeah, we'll have somebody come out and power wash it every once in a while. Okay? Well, power wash it how often? You know, tell me the truth here now. And that's just like the garbage. He told me they want to stick restaurants on these ends like this. There is absolutely no way to get out of here with this parking and stuff and everything to get all the way back here to this dumpster. You know? And I told him, I said, you know, the people that are carrying out the garbage aren't exactly getting paid the most amount of money in the world. And they really don't care whether it all falls out, okay, or whatever, and flies everywhere with the wind blowing. All right? So he tells me that, well, they have people that'll come in and they're going to pick this garbage up and stuff, you know. Well, how often? Okay? I mean, I've had a business myself, and I have had property management people myself, and I know what it's like to gripe at them and complain, and you don't get anywhere the majority of the time. If you don't like it, wait until your lease runs out and move. Okay? And as far as restaurants, in my opinion, that could be one of the worst things, if he's wanting to do it here and here, that could possibly happen because of all the extra filth. Okay? I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I know you got grease traps, you know, and stuff and everything, but restaurants are downright filthy. And when you have dumpsters that are going to be running over or whatever, I mean, he can have them picked up 2 or 3 more times a week. Well, that's fine. You know, maybe that'll work. Okay? But when's he going to come up and actually take somebody that's going to power wash this and clean this stuff and everything to actually keep it clean? See, that's another one of our problems is we're so close back here in these situations. What's it going to be like when it's 105 degrees outside this summer with a bunch of garbage sitting in there? You know, are we going to see like whoop, what is that? It's a bunch of flies, you know? And what about and this is another thing too. On this side right here, we have absolutely no problem with any kind of rats or rodents, okay? On the other side, okay, of Roundtree, which is across the street from me, we have a major rat problem. It has been brought up to the city and stuff, okay? All right? And I know we don't have a health department, okay? But what I'm trying to say is if you start bringing in some of that stuff in here, we're going to move them all more to this side over here too? It's a good question. And I can't answer that, but it's a good question. So anyway, I think that I've about run up my time.
Ms. Ransom, did you have a question for this gentleman?
Well,